city.
We are very focused on helping communities be safe, and local law enforcement should be working with ICE to help remove criminals.
Hochul says her policies focus on public safety, while Holman argues limits on jail cooperation will lead to more immigration enforcement in neighborhoods. A federal appeals court is raising concerns over Alabama's use of nitrogen gas in executions. Judges say the method could cause intolerable suffering and ordered a lower court to consider alternatives, though they did not block a scheduled execution later this week. And Lamar Richardson is celebrating a historic win at the Tony Awards. The 33-year-old became one of the few black lead producers to win Best Revival of a Musical for Ragtime. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Then hear us on WBOK1230.com.
Late nights in New Orleans. Some voices entertain the city. Some voices changing. You already know who on the air tonight. Gerod. Gerard on the radio. Whole city vibing slow. Late night lights in New Orleans glow. Everybody listen close. Gerard on the radio. Truth in the speakers for sure. From the bayou streets to the corner store. Whole city locked in. French Quarter nights with the rain coming down. Whole city talk, but the truth stay underground. Funny how the silence break whenever he speak. Certain conversations never make the TV. Voice through the speakers got the whole city tuned. Higher ups nervous every time he hit the room, cause he say what the people been feeling for years, bringing light to the stories they don't want us to hear. From the uptown lights to the night war pain, every word hit different when it cut through the rain. Everybody know the truth, just never said aloud, till Gerard hit the airwaves and it shook the whole town. And the streets keep calling through the static in the night. Every word feel different when Gerard go live. Gerard on the radio. Whole city vibing slow. Late night lights in New Orleans glow. Everybody listen close. Gerard on the radio. Truth in the speakers for sure. From the bayou streets to the corner store. Whole city locked in. Streetcars roll while the city stay awake. Everybody got a story, everybody got a way. Funny how the phones go quiet when he name names. Funny how the pressure rise when he shift the conversation. He talk schools, streets, money disappearing. Backdoor deals that the public ain't hearing. Things get buried when the cameras don't roll, but the people tune in, cause Gerard let it unfold. From the jazz in the streets to the smoke in the sky, the wall is still fighting, still holding it high. And the city feels seen every time that he speak, cause the truth hit harder when it finally run deep. Now the whole town riding with the station on live. Hands high while they sing every word through the crowd. Can you feel the city breathing? Every late night conversation. Through the speakers, through the rain. Ooh, New Orleans, don't sound the same. Gerard on the radio. Whole city vibing slow. Late night lights in New Orleans glow. Everybody listen close. Gerard on the radio. Truth in the speakers for sure. From the bayou streets to the corner store. Whole city locked in. Yeah. You're now rocking with Gerard, the voice they couldn't silence. New Orleans, stand up.
Yeah. Stand up, stand up, stand up. You got to get off your butt. Stand, okay.
It was a little better without the ad lib.
Stand up, stand up. That's if you give. No, I'm just sorry. That's all. What's happening, good folks? Welcome to the program. It is Thursday afternoon. We are live at WBOK 12:30 a.m. And for those of you that have been wondering about the FM 107.1, has been in a position right now where they're moving the tower. So we'll give you as many updates as we can when we know something else. Sitting to my right, looking to your left, of course, you have the one and only, the attorney extraordinaire, that is Suzette Bagnaris.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Miss Pam, what you say? Miss Pam?
Now, Gerard. Hello, Miss McNair.
Hello. How are you?
Fine. I remember all of us dancing on the floor at the white party.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's good to see you.
That's her from the vault.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so much fun. But Gerard, is that your son again? Made that tune right there?
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy. That's number one, bruh. That's number one. Come on now.
He loves it.
I like the first one. But this one, oh, you can hump for a while on this one. Just bumping and bopping and bebopping and moving. You got all kinds of moves you can do on this song, bruh. My God.
I'm scared to ask you what you doing over there because I done seen you dance. I done seen you.
We have seen you in action. Gerard was running from you. We've seen you in action.
I sure did. I ran. There ain't no ifs, ands, and buts.
I'm being good. I'm just sitting under a shade tree, baby, listening to y'all.
Yes,
I'm
indeed.
happy you like the song. I like it too.
It is a jam, huh, girl? We could all just get on the floor, and whatever you feeling, that song's going to bring it out in you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
indeed.
Absolutely. He tries to
please
keep y'all on your
congratulate.
toes. He switches the songs around.
Yeah,
Now-
that's nice, though. I mean, that's a jam, though. I mean, if you don't like that song, you dead. You are dead.
Yes, indeed.
There-
Well, I
There's no
appreciate it.
pulse.
Thank you, my
Well,
dear.
tell your son congratulations and a wonderful job. And I'll holler back at you. I'm going to keep listening.
All right, Miss Pam. Thank you, dear.
All righty. Bye-bye.
So I told Reggie, I said, hey, bro, we got to do another one. I said, I need Suzette in the song. He said, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to get it, too. I said, all right.
I'm scared to hear what the lyrics are going to be, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. For all those that are tuning in, because I'm seeing the number go up really quick, he is not here yet, but we're going to make sure that he's got the right, location that we're expecting our guest, who is the new judge on the bench for a short period of time, but Judge John Fuller.
Let me frame the conversation a little bit while we wait for him to get here.
He's going to be here, and he's coming to be in the studio live.
We are about to be joined by a man whose name has become increasingly familiar in conversations about justice, accountability, and the future of our criminal courts here in New Orleans. Our guest will be Judge John Fuller of the Orleans Criminal District Court. John Fuller came to the criminal court bench after years of legal practice and public service, bringing with him a perspective shaped by firsthand experience in the courtroom. This man is a for real trial lawyer, y'all. He assumes the role of judge at a time when our criminal justice system faces significant challenges, from concerns about public safety and court efficiency to questions about fairness, transparency, and public confidence in the administration of justice. The judiciary plays a unique role in our democracy. Judges are called upon to interpret the law, protect constitutional rights, and ensure that justice is administered fairly and impartially. Yet their decisions often affect not only the individuals who appear before them, but entire communities. So this afternoon, we will discuss with John Fuller his journey to the bench, his vision for the court, the challenges facing Orleans Parish and the Criminal District Court in particular, and his thoughts on the evolving role of the judiciary in today's society. I look forward to hearing what this young brother has to say, because I've been following his career since he started practicing law. He's been one to watch. And as an experienced trial lawyer, when you start, hearing buzz about people or whatnot, you start to kind of follow their work just to see if they're the real deal or if they're faking the funk. And I can tell you that this young man is the real deal. He's a for real trial attorney. He takes his job seriously. He zealously advocates for his clients. He's not afraid to buck the system if he has to, in the interest of protecting his clients. He can get down with the common man. Mm-hmm. He can get down with the royalty. I mean, he really does walk the walk, talk the talk, and his reputation as a criminal litigator is one that the street committee recognizes him for.
That's what I thought was going to be like. No, because he's not going to be able to be out there doing that type of litigation for the street.
Well, it will be a loss to the street committee, okay? Because I got to tell y'all, not everybody is a for real trial lawyer. Not everybody really knows the rules of evidence, knows how to implement them, takes the time to adequately prepare, and truly explains to their clients what they're facing.
Yep.
He's not one, because there are some over there at criminal district court that were practicing it. Take your money and you don't see them again. They'll show up for the hearings. They take your money and you're chasing them down. Where they keep pushing cases down the road and not actually trying them because they're trying to make $10 on the other side of the courtroom.
But I'm glad we're talking about cases, because I got to tell you something that disturbed me as I read up more on it. It made me really pay attention to what people were saying about the case down in Florida, where they're talking about, is it down in Florida where the young man, what's his name,
Carmelo Anthony.
And what he did.
That's troubling me, that case.
And the I guess defense attorney and the relationship between the defense attorney and the prosecutor, that relationship should have come up as far as something that could have been, disturbing. And if ain't nobody paying attention to it, how do you become the defense attorney and the prosecutor, and your relationship are like buddies?
There's not a problem with that. I'm going to tell you. That's not what's troubling me about that case. In New Orleans, I can tell you that, there are friends across the V. You make friends with people who practice on the other side of the V from you. When I say the V in the criminal context, that would be prosecutors and defense lawyers. In the civil context, it would be plaintiff lawyers versus defense lawyers. It's not uncommon for them to be colleagues, friends, members of the same kinds of clubs, and have things in common. That's not the problem. The problem here is that, as I understand it, this attorney has a reputation for maybe not doing the best in terms of his zealous advocacy for clients. I understand in this particular case, he only called one witness. I just don't know that this kid received the best representation he could have received.
I don't think so either. Let's take a call here, because Chuck is holding on. Chuck.
Hello, I'm going to just add on with you all talking about the justice system. Hey, sis. Good evening to you all down there in the Crescent City. But, hey, sis, I think about you and your husband. You told me you had the watch party last night for the ball game.
We did.
At his place.
A time was had. I pulled up, and there was no room in the parking lot. It was packed, which I love to see. And I love to see so many people who came out to show support. I got to tell you, it's getting to be having a reputation of friends becoming family real fast, strangers becoming friends real fast. And what I love about it is, that it's a very diverse crowd. There's a lot of women, a lot of men, a lot of professionals, a lot of common people, common man kind of situation. White, black, everything. It was a good mix, and a good time was had. Hey,
and the way things are going, the way these people are acting up in New York, you all could do quite well in law up there because these people, they call themselves so-called fans, acting real gangster. That's what I'm just gonna put it that way. Going and beating up people with Spurs jerseys on, and a lot of them getting arrested. I think you and your husband will do quite well. You all have plenty of work up there in New York City because they've been acting so crazy. These are overgrown people out there acting crazy, and that's why I look at it. And I thought about you yesterday talking about the flamethrower, and not to go and injure or kill anyone, but just to get their attention. That's probably what's needed up there in New York City right now because it's got so wild with it. These supposed to be adults, but they're acting like children. Really acting like something out of the zoo. I'm just put it that way.
I don't know what it is about sporting events that sometimes bring out the worst behavior in people.
It does.
I mean, I see
love
it at the
sports, but it
Saints
does.
games all the time. My seats happen to be like on the 8th row of the visiting side. And so we always get the very rowdy fans who travel from, city to city to watch their team play.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes in particular, when Atlanta and Dallas are in town, oh my God,
yeah.
I just rather give up my tickets. They really get so mean-spirited sometimes.
Philadelphia?
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Oh, yes.
They get so mean-spirited sometimes that you just like, come on, it's a football game. Relax.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. We see sometimes, all the times when these basketball teams win the finals or when a football team wins the Super Bowl, people tearing up their own city. I mean, I don't understand that.
City.
It's a
I don't
game.
understand
What
it
are you
either.
doing?
Yeah, you're right.
And none of them
You're
are
right
making
about
the money. It's the owner making the money. So I understand supporting your team and being hyped. I mean, when the Saints went to the Super Bowl, I was right there with them. When they went to play in London, I was right there with them. I get that. I'm going to support my team, but I'm not.
You know how to act.
Yeah, I'm not going to be obnoxious to the other fans,
No.
nor am I going to tear up a place whether, my team wins or loses. That's where you're going just a little bit too far.
Oh, you're right, and that's what's happening. And you just made. I told a sports talk radio show host there yesterday in Raleigh, North Carolina, who I've become acquainted with. I told him, I said, you know what, these people who are acting up like that. I said, James Dolan, the owner of the New York Knicks, if they get arrested, then he's not going to go and bail them out and pay their court costs. He's going to be going off somewhere else. And those A-listers that you see there, those celebrities like Spike Lee and all of them, and Jay-Z and all, they're going to be going somewhere else. They're working. They probably be going to work. They probably in a board meeting or doing some other projects. And these people are. That's why these people are millionaires and billionaires, and they're not going to bail them out. And these people up there acting crazy about them and want to beat up people and tearing off jerseys and all that. That's what I said. I think about you people that might want to go up there, who like your Saints or your Pelicans want to go up there. Like I was joking. I said no, I'm not condoning violence, but I said might need to get a flamethrower, not to shoot at them, but just to get their attention.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't know. I think that's when people like Spike Lee. People like Cardi B, people who are fans of those teams need to take to their Instagram to just kind of remind fans, look, we're here for a good time.
Exactly.
Don't get yourself in trouble, being an overzealous fan. That might help.
That's why law comes in. You all need it.
Well, I tell you what, I look forward to this conversation we're going to have today with John Fuller. And I want to hear all your thoughts, too, on this Carmelo Anthony thing. Because I really don't think this kid got a fair shake in this criminal trial. I mean, the trial was decided by an all-white jury.
The
prosecution struck 2 potential black jurors from the panel. I don't know that the lawyer fought hard enough with his Batson challenge.
No.
The defense lawyer made a formal objection known as a Batson challenge, arguing that the strikes were racially motivated, but the judge overruled it. I think he could have argued it a little bit more zealously. I'm sure that will be one of the grounds he's going to file in his appeal, saying that he did make a timely Batson challenge and that the court did overrule it. This is why it's so important for black people to participate in jury duty and not make statements that can get them stricken. Because then you end up with this travesty of justice with an all-white jury that this young man had to go in front of. And I'm finding it very interesting now that his parents, Kayla Hayes and Andrew Anthony, are both publicly saying that they felt the trial was a setup. They believe public bias convicted their son before he even stepped into a courtroom. But you hired the wrong lawyer. Let's start with that. You should have hired somebody who would have fought harder for your son, somebody who had more in common with your son. I think you got to take some responsibility for that. And then
they got a public defender.
Yeah, and then supporters argue that the jury ignored the fact that the victim made the first physical contact, making Anthony's actions a split-second self-defense act out of fear. I don't know how that was presented to the jury. I don't know if there was enough evidence or witnesses to drive that point home, but that certainly should have been driven home, that this young man was defending himself out of fear and was not the aggressor. But that's certainly something I think the lawyer can raise on the appeal. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But this is why who you select to be your attorney is very important.
Exactly.
You need to really know their background. You need to know what their win-loss record is. You need to know their experience in handling that particular kind of case. And then who sits on that jury makes or break a case. I can tell you, looking at the jury, pretty much, once the jury's impaneled and I've heard their background, how that case is going to go. Cases are won and lost in jury selection. And I don't think enough lawyers take enough time picking a jury. When I'm picking a jury, I may take 3-4 hours to pick a jury because I know the importance of having the right 12 people in the box for that particular case. I always tell the jury panel, every juror is not good for every kind of case. Some people bring a bias to certain cases that can't be overcome no matter what the evidence says.
May have had a personal, situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I use myself for example. I have been robbed at gunpoint and carjacked.
Yeah.
I would not be a good juror for a case that involves a carjacking. I would not be a good juror for a case that involves an armed robbery because I have a bias because I've been a victim. So, you gotta ask people those kinds of questions to draw out potential biases. And then you got to make sure you pick the right 12, for the box. And I don't know that they did that in this particular case to end up with this particular jury.
Oh, you're right. And you look at those areas where it's located, just kind of like back what happened when Rodney King was beaten by those cops. And you saw where that case took place. It's in Simi Valley. Know what kind of area that was, and that's when that riot started in 1992. I was in high school then during that time. I was a junior in high school when that was going on, and the people that I was pointing out right away, they said, "Wait a minute, you see where they had the cave where those cops got out? That was in Simi Valley, and know what kind of area that is of Los Angeles."
Well, the question is, and should have been asked, and this is where I think he really went wrong, knowing that. To me, Anthony's attorney should have moved for a change of venue.
Yeah.
And in this particular case,
I know,
Anthony's lawyer did not file a formal motion to change the venue. And so the trial took place entirely at the Collin County Courthouse in McKinney, Texas. And I understand
I know what kind of area that is.
Yeah, and I understand that the jury pool is predominantly white there and predominantly conservative there. And, that enhanced the likelihood of him losing and not getting a jury of his peers. The lawyers should have moved for a change of venue. And given all of the public press statements that the prosecution had already made, tainting the jury pool in this particular venue, I think that Anthony's lawyer should have made that the basis of his motion to change the venue of the trial, arguing that because of all of the media that the prosecution had done prior to the trial, that tainted the jury pool, and therefore they should have asked to move it to another county.
Oh yeah, right there, and I can see right there in Dallas. See, I'm up this way. I'm on Interstate 20. I'm 280 miles from Dallas, Texas, and west is west of me, and has a great shot at Dallas. A lot of people from Monroe that live in Dallas, and that area is spread out, and they have those kind of areas out there. They should move to see if they can move it to the greater Dallas area, and probably been better.
He would have had a fighting chance. He would have had a fighting chance,
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to take a break right here.
all
Thank
right.
you for calling in and for
I'm looking
giving
forward
us
to
your
the
opinion.
interview.
Oh, look, I'm
All
looking
right.
forward to
Always
it
great
too.
conversing with you all.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay. You take care.
All right, we got more coming up. That's Elmore. Hold on. We got more coming up.
Attention, WBOK listeners. Are you a fan of the station and want to show your support and style? Well, we've got some exciting news for you. Introducing the official WBOK merchandise, the perfect way to wear your love for the station. Whether you're a longtime listener or a new fan, we've got something for everyone. Head to WBOK1230.com now and grab your WBOK gear before it's gone. When you buy WBOK merch, you're not just getting quality items, you're supporting the station you love.
Hey Delta Utilities natural gas customers, your new and improved online customer service experience is here. Visit mydu.com to track your usage, choose convenient payment options, learn how to read your bill, and more. If you prefer to pay in person, our customer payment centers are open and ready to serve you. Delta Utilities at mydu.com. That's mydu.com. Improved customer service with you in mind.
Did you hear the news? Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom has a new time. Catch us now every Wednesday at noon. Same program, same great conversations. Just a new time. So catch Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom this Wednesday and every Wednesday only on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
Interest rates and inflation are out of control. Is your credit card debt also out of control? It's time to resolve your debt and take back control for a lot less than what you owe. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, then you need to call us right now. Debt Fix Pros can significantly reduce the amount you owe, and you could be debt-free faster than you think.
I knew we had to do something. Our debt was growing.
It was getting out of control, and we just didn't know what to do.
We saw an ad for Debt Fix Pros. We called, and they showed us how fast they could get us out of debt.
It really was amazing, and now we're back in control.
Call now, and we'll show you how easy it is to fix your debt. The call and consultation are free. Call Debt Fix Pros right now at 800-311-5977. That's 800-311-5977. 800-311-5977.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Welcome back. Welcome back. Mr. Elmore, you've been hanging. How you doing?
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
Good.
No, my comment is that, and I listened briefly to what you and the attorney said, but I think a lot of times what happened is that attorneys, I agree that attorneys representing a young man is not that good, and maybe that's why I've learned over the years not all attorneys are the same. That's why when you pick for attorneys, something serious as that, you have to really do your homework on someone that's really into that particular law, that particular offense that you did, because not everybody can represent you well, and maybe they didn't have the kind of money. Maybe they get a better attorney. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I think if I'm an attorney, then maybe that's why I could be an attorney, because if you're poor or have money, I'm not going to railroad you. I'm going to do everything I can on whatever you have to give me to defend you. But maybe that's what we come to, is about making money, greed and making money.
I think the number one thing you got to think about, though, Mr. Elmore, is if I'm going to have to assess what type of attorney you are, what's your specialty, what you can handle, what you're not handling, I want to look at your record. I want to be able to say that, you know what, my life is on the line. And if I put my life on the line and you're responsible for me getting off, getting fewer years or whatever, I need to make sure that's something that you can handle.
Well, let me just say this. I think Mr. Elmore makes a great point in that I don't know when this happened, but now the cost of hiring someone to represent you in a capital murder trial now is about $100,000. That's crazy, right? People have to mortgage their homes, get lines of credit at banks, everything in order to be able to hire a good criminal defense attorney to represent them in a murder case. Even other cases in Texas, because I practice in Texas. I can tell you that I know criminal defense attorneys in Texas that, charge $50,000 like nothing. Okay. The cost of hiring a quality attorney has escalated tremendously, and it is now unreachable for some people who need justice. Maybe attorneys need to examine themselves and ask, are they being greedy? I know my staff is always on me. My husband's always on me about you bleeding heart, and you don't always ask for what you're worth, and you let people pay you overtime, and you let people pay you on a credit card, and sometimes you don't ever get paid. Look at Gerod. Sometimes I get stiffed a lot, y'all. But I can tell you that sometimes,
it's the blessings.
Well, you get it back in blessings, you do. But I have to say that I think the profession needs to examine itself to determine whether we are more focused on greed and the dollar than on the pursuit of justice for the community.
Again, you defended me because I was right what I said. I see certain things for a reason. I see certain things, and you made the comment. You did what I felt you was going to say. You backed me 100%.
Yeah.
And Kay, I appreciate you. I don't know you that well, but Kay, I appreciate you. You have some very human qualities about you. Most attorneys is not going to have. That's why I admitted to you I could not be an attorney, not because I don't have human nature about myself, which I do, but I don't know how to handle it because you have to get paid to take care of your family. But then again, you're looking at the human side of you. You're saying, wait, that way. This family man that had no $200,000.
Right.
I'm gonna see what I can do.
Right, and I get calls all the time from people who will say, "Oh man, and this happens a lot in Houma, y'all. In Houma, I'll get people who call me and they'll say, "Oh, I got this criminal charge and I can't get a lawyer down here because all the lawyers are telling me I got to give them, $50,000, $100,000 up front in Houma." Okay. And we're out here thinking, I'm like, okay, look, what can you do? Can you work with me? I'm going to need to hire some experts. That is going to cost a lot of money. But your life is on the line. I'll work with you if you can work with me, but everybody's not going to do that. And I really do think lawyers need to start having an examination, a self-examination of conscience.
Well,
you got to serve the community too. Otherwise, what are you really doing? Why are you in this? Are you just in it to make money? I just don't know.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, Ms. Big Naz, because I'm like that too. In my profession, if I look at a job in the Gerod district, oh well, I look at a job in the lower 9. Trust me, the price is gonna be different. I'm not gonna discriminate because I understand this family in lower 9, man, that had the kind of capital someone there, but in this Gerod district. Now you might say that's discrimination. No, it's not. But I try to use a little common sense. I mean, because I feel that, I try to use common sense. I try to look at where my bread and butter is because I do have a conscience and I do believe in helping folk. And I was able to decide more than well, to be honest with you, try to help folks out that didn't have all what they needed,
And on the flip, I want to say this. Stop stiffing attorneys. Mm-hmm. Because, when you get stiffed enough, then you're like, okay, no more favors. I can't work with you no more. I've been burned too much. That kind of thing. It's easy to feel like that sometimes when you are getting stiff. where you say, okay, look, I'm not going to charge you a retainer up front, but this is the hourly wage I'm going to charge you, and I need you to pay me, every 30 days or so on this account. And then all of a sudden, they don't pay you at all, and you've done all this work. That's the flip side of it. So there's two sides of it, But I just feel like this young man did not get the best of representation, and my heart just bleeds for him. Being so young, being in this situation. I just don't think that, I think the lawyer dropped the ball, not filing the motion for change of venue. That should have been a no-brainer. Now, when he argues that on appeal, that he felt that, there was too much pretrial publicity that biased the jury pool, he's at a loss, because the first thing the appellate court's going to say is, well, did you file a motion to change the venue? And the answer's no. So he dropped the ball on that. He didn't zealously. I hope he made his record on the Batson issue where they struck all the black jurors. I don't know the record he made, but I hope he made a real good record on that. I hope that he really drove home the discrepancies in the video evidence. Apparently the video evidence used during the trial didn't match the descriptions given by the prosecution witnesses. So they plan, I understand they plan to argue that the jury was misled about who the actual aggressor was during the confrontation. Well, that should have been, I hope he drove it home. And then the third thing I think he's going to have to appeal on is this issue regarding how the jury was instructed, the jury instructions on sudden passion. Under Texas law, if a jury believes a crime was committed out of sudden passion, it is significantly lower. The prison sentence is significantly lower. So let me explain jury charges. Before a trial, the lawyers from both sides submit to the court what they think the potential instructions on the law that the court is going to read to the jury at the end of the trial. During the trial, you refine those jury charges because maybe something didn't come up that you thought was going to come up and you don't need that charge anymore. Or maybe something came up you didn't anticipate and now you need a charge on that issue. So then at the end of the trial, the judge holds what's called a charge conference, and the lawyers from both sides argue why the judge should accept their charges instead of the other side's charges to read to the jury. That is such an important conference, that charge conference, because the instructions that are read to the jury make all the difference in the world when it comes to how the jury rules. So in this particular instance, the jury was not instructed well on sudden passion, which would have decreased the potential time this young man could get. I don't know why, I don't know why they weren't instructed well on it, but it's something that this lawyer should have fought zealously for to get the right charge on that before the jury. So hopefully he'll raise that on appeal as well.
All right, Mr. Elmore, let me get some other folks on because
thank you, buddy.
We got folks holding. I appreciate you,
yes,
sir.
Sir. Thank you.
All right, down in Texas at the case. Hey, Ron, you still here? Where you at? Where you at?
I'm in
Not where you are.
I'm up in.
Where are you? But where you at?
Where you at?
How you doing, man?
I'm up in Texas. Oh man, it's crazy, man.
You were at the trial, correct?
At the trial, yes sir, yes sir. And first shouts out to the Fatherhood Roundtable as well as the Houston Gun Club. We was actually came down here to hold post on some people that we had that was flying in from all over to put hands and eyes on this case. This case was actually shot from the beginning. Like you say, the lawyer, he didn't put in for a change of venue. The jury was never sequestered. You had people on the jury who said, and I quote, "Oh yeah, I've been following this case since it first happened." You ain't even supposed to be on the jury, man. And I'm not a lawyer, but I know that right there. Also, for Christmas, the judge, the district attorney, as well as some of the prosecutors who was prosecuting this case and the daddy and the mama was all at the judge house for a Christmas party in December. That's right, the same judge that served over this case, Judge Roach, as well as the DA and some other prosecutors was all at a Christmas party at the judge house this December. Also, there was no black media was allowed in the courtroom. They had all white media. And if you was following some of the social media posts, you seen a difference. And if you also hear about how they even talking about the brother Carmelo, notice how they give his current age at the age he's at now, and notice how when they talk about Metcalf, they give the age he was when this situation happened. You know, they're making this white boy look like he was, the great white hope, and making it seem like Carmelo was, as they use these terms for us, thugs and things like that. But I know that thugs don't have a 3.7 grade point average. Thugs don't have no criminal background. You know what I'm saying? And also, there was this, I can't think of the mother's name, but she was also at the case too. Carmelo saved her son from drowning. So I mean, it was a man. It was.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot to unpack here, but it sounds like there were a lot of missed opportunities. I don't take as much issue with the fact that the prosecution attended a Christmas party at the judge's house, because I can tell you, I have many friends on the bench. I socialize with them outside of the courtroom. It doesn't give me any particular advantage when I go in front of them. And there are defense lawyers that are also at these same events at the judges' homes. It doesn't give them any particular advantage when they're in front of them. Judges don't like being reversed. They typically, apply the facts and the law to the particular case because they don't want to be reversed. So,
all right. Well, let me. Hold. I'm sorry. Mimi. Let me bring it a little more closer.
Okay.
The judge is friends with the father of Austin Metcalf. The Metcalf family is notorious in Dallas. These boys have been bullies since the 4th grade. They have been problematic in Frisco for years. As a matter of fact, there was a news reporter who I got into it with one morning because where she parked her car at, that's where we was parking at, during the trials, to make sure the people were straight, had water, because, up in Texas, there's some different kind of heat up here. When I say it's hot, it is hot.
Let me tell you this. I hear what you're saying, and the lawyer for Mr. Anthony would have had to file a motion to recuse in Texas under Rule 18A and 18B of the Texas Rules of Procedure, okay? And under that rule, he could have questioned the judge's impartiality. He could have questioned personal bias. He could have questioned, financial interest, family ties, all those things, right? That could have been filed prior to the trial. And then it could have been ruled on prior to the trial. I don't know that a motion to recuse was filed in this particular instance. I haven't heard of a motion to recuse that was filed in the Anthony case. So, there are procedures when you do think that a judge may have a bias that need to be followed. And I don't know that motion to recuse was filed.
Hey, Ron, we got to move on, brother. I got to take this. I just wanted to hear your, I guess more so than anything else, your acknowledgement of being there, number one, which you did, and then number two, giving your expertise of what you thought.
I appreciate it. And one more thing I want to add as it relates to the lawyer. As y'all know, the family did have a GoFundMe set up, which GoFundMe knocked that down. So they got on another I forgot that app. The money that they were supposed to get, all of that was shut down. So they had to go with their move as related to the public pretender what they had.
And I did read that somewhere, but GoFundMe does have strict rules for users to follow, but GoFundMe usually can be paid to use legal fees. To pay legal fees.
Yeah, it's used for everybody
thousands of people raised money on the platform to pay lawyers and court costs and bail. So I don't know why GoFundMe shut that account down. I mean, that's a problem.
And that was in that happened last year. That was like right around, I say about 2-3 months after everything had went down. But since then, they moved to another fundraising account, and they also shut it down. They had like over close to $700,000 up in there.
Well, they may have a case against GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Tell them holla at your girl.
Yep.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, hey, Ron,
All right,
be
y'all.
careful, bro.
Peace.
I appreciate you,
Yeah,
though.
you're right.
All right,
Already.
talk to you in a minute. All right, more coming up, y'all. We'll take the break here, and he's in the building. The judge is in the building, y'all.
Here come the judge.
Here come the judge. Here
judge.
come the judge. We'll talk to him next. Judge John Full is next. Real issues, real talk, real solutions. Miss an episode of The Reality Check? You can catch every episode anytime. Search WBOK Media on your favorite podcast app to tap the bold commentary, real-time reactions, and powerful perspectives from the people and leaders shaping our city. Download, share, and rate it 5 stars because the real ones always stay informed.
Greetings and salutations. I am Edward B. Coulon Smith, chairman of the board of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to invite you to tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon on WBOK to listen in on Black to Business and be a part of the movement that's going on. Thank you.
The Ron Kelly Show. Real talk, bold truth. Tune in for your weekly dose of unapologetic conversations that don't dodge the truth or dilute the message. Stay informed on the issues that matter most on The Ron Kelly Show, every Monday at 8 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM.
Hey, have you heard the news? First Pilgrims Baptist Church is now on WBOK 1230 AM. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. to hear Pastor Eugene Mitchell give you the inspiration you need for the week ahead. That's every Sunday morning, 11:30 a.m. Only on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
When you talk, we listen. WBOK. Here we go. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Joining us and having this part of the conversation, we hijacked him earlier this weekend, and he said, "I'd be there, bro."
And I just want to say he was running a little late because he had a full criminal court docket and he was attending to the needs of the people before he attended to come in here. And I respect that.
You're the best cheerleader. Only thing that we needed was some pom-poms. I
want people to know that. I want people to know he is usually a brother that is on time.
That's the quarterback.
So there was a good reason why he wasn't here.
I'm going to just go ahead on and do this for you, Judge. I'm going to just do this for you. First of all, how you doing?
Good. I'm glad to be here, G-Man. Thank you for the invitation. And again, I apologize for being late.
We already had called. Your people handled it already. They said,
they told you?
Yeah, they already.
Yeah, you were working hard. We get it. We get it.
So I think that both of us had sat back and we were talking about this story before it really became a story.
Mm-hmm.
And when it became a story, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I guess the question that really came about was, who are going to be the judges that they're targeting? And when I heard your name, I was like, no, how are they coming up with these, with I guess, the decision on who's being targeted? How did you find out?
Well, there have been a couple different iterations of the proposed bills. And the most recent iteration, according to what was coming out of Baton Rouge, was last hired, first fired, which would have included myself, Judge Levine, and Judge Roche. Obviously, there were some changes because Judge Roche was not targeted with the final bill, and instead it was myself, Judge Levine, and Judge Good Douglas, who's been on the bench for close to 6 years now.
When you heard this, and I guess more so than anything else, are you looking around and saying, after I made my decision, because I was listening to Miss Roberta over the weekend when she said, he put a lot of money into that because he the only man I ever seen that had 3 billboards going across the river. And I thought about that, even though she was saying it facetiously. I was thinking about it, and I was like, how do you recap and recapture what they are now getting ready to take away from you because of your time frame and that you're not serving?
So yeah,
will you be able to?
So originally we thought, because if you recall, when the gerrymandering thing took center stage, you didn't hear a lot of talk about the judges. So I honestly thought that the legislature was going to let it go,
right,
and maybe revisit it at some time in the future. So it actually kind of surprised me that they resumed negotiations on it when they did, considering how close it was to the end of the session. So many of us were a little surprised that it actually went through. And of course, I was planning on qualifying in August.
Let me say this. It cost a tremendous amount of money to run for judge in a citywide race. Back when I did it in 2007, it cost $150,000. I can't imagine what it costs now. Are you going to have a retire the debt fundraiser so that you can get past the money spent in this race that you just won, so that you can build a war chest to be able to do battle come November?
So we're certainly planning that fundraiser right now as we speak, with the goal being that it engages, other members of the community who don't necessarily come to fundraisers, because I kind of ran on humanity, right? Oftentimes judges are portrayed as being cold, not empathetic, not sympathetic, and I ran on being that type of judge. And part of that entails me maintaining my relationships with a diverse section of our community. So I'm looking forward to that fundraiser. I'm trying to have it at a fun place where everybody would feel comfortable coming out. And, everybody can't donate $2,500.
That's
right?
correct.
And I'm proud to say during the course of my campaign, everyone wasn't. I had some people that were donating $50. I think some that even donated less than that, right? But there were a bunch of different contributors. So I want to have that debt retirement fundraiser, and as you alluded to, Suzette, build that chest for future endeavors.
It's not unusual for a judge, once they have been successful to be elected, to host a retire the debt fundraiser. They usually send those invitations out to the bar, all the lawyers in the city, and the lawyers come and they help the judge retire their campaign debt. And then from there, they have fundraisers to build a war chest for the next time they have to run. Unfortunately, Judge Fuller is in a position where he's got to retire the debt and build a war chest
at the same time. So
I do think that it's incumbent upon us as a community to support him in retiring his debt and building his war chest so that he can be a formidable opponent financially in November. We already know he's a formidable opponent based upon experience and education and just the character of the man. But we need to help him financially.
But you got to pick now. Are you going to run for the same seat, because it's going to be gone, so you can't run for that?
Can't run for that. He's got to run against.
So you got to go against maybe some of your colleagues.
He's got to run against a judge who's sitting on one of the other benches and who would be the incumbent. So now he's got to run against an incumbent, which is a little bit more difficult. He's going to have to show the difference between him and somebody who's been sitting there a long time, and he is going to have to pretty much show their record and put his promise of the direction he's going to take his court against their record.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been involved with this week is, securing my attorney to file litigation in opposition of the bill that was passed. So we kind of been working on that. And part of that includes filing for an injunction to prevent this bill from going into effect. You got to think about it. We're literally 2 months out, less than 2 months out for the qualifying period for the fall elections.
Right.
So the timing of this is not what's best. You know, if we knew 2 years ago that we would be in this situation, or even a year ago,
you wouldn't have ran.
but right, literally to kind of put this issue in the lap of Tulane and Broad, less than 2 months before the election, has presented us with some very unique challenges. And as Ms. McNair's just alluded to, one of the things is, if the injunction is not granted, then you're left deciding, okay, who do I want to run against, and how does my record stand up next to his or hers?
Well, one of the questions, Judge, that I was asking, and no one has answered the question, and I actually got this from another political person, of how do you, as the state, violate the city's home rule charter? Because the city of New Orleans has its own governing policies, correct?
That's right.
So when does the state get the opportunity to just say, guess what? We're just going to violate everything that you guys have put in. Because I think that whoever put the home rule charter together, one of the issues of that home rule charter is to make sure that the state can't do anything like this. So has anybody challenged that as far as?
No one has challenged it. We know that the Supreme Court recently shut down a move by the city as relates to another office. I expect they would probably do the same thing in this situation, because the removal of judgeships is covered under the state constitution. So I think that the lawyer who would advocate for Bill 217 would stand on the proposition that state law trumps local law.
Right. Okay. All right. So either way, I just think it's foul. And especially when we've been having a conversation about ethics. We even went far as looking at the person who introduced the bill, which was Jay Morris, and then looked at him to find out, how his ethics were, finding out that he is putting together a group of guys that are buying the land, that are actually selling the land to these folks so that they can put that data center in his district. And to me, that's an ethics violation. So I know you don't have this, but I just wanted to have a conversation about, has anybody said that they're going to do anything against him?
The only person who said anything about that was, that I know of, is him, when he said people were threatening him, threats to which none of us have seen any evidence of.
Right.
But one of the things you said, G-Man, is you expressed your sentiment that this action is foul. And I think you don't just speak for yourself. I think you speak for a lot of citizens in this community.
Yes.
I'm in Rouse's. I'm in Winn-Dixie. I'm in CVS. And so many citizens have come up to me and said, man, what do we have to do?
Right.
Tell us what we need to do, and we're going to do it. So the citizens feel as if their votes in part don't matter. But it's, in addition to fellow citizens, you'll be surprised how many Republicans have reached out to me and said that they disagree. As a lawyer, I've traveled all over the state,
right,
in rural parishes and conservative parishes, and in moderate to liberal parishes like Orleans and St. John. Attorneys, prosecutors, I ain't talking about just defense attorneys. Attorneys from all over the state have literally reached out to me and expressed serious discontent with what happened. And I feel like that's the feeling across the state. This ain't just a black thing. This ain't just this ain't just a Democrat thing. When I tell you, there have been white friends of mine as well as Republicans who have expressed anger with what happened there've been a ton of them.
Well, you should have heard all the 4-letter words that she came out.
Look, voting is the bedrock of democracy. And when the vote of the people is no longer respected, do we still have a viable democracy? I think that's an issue that everyone should be able to get behind, white, black, Republican, Democrat. You know, the legitimacy of a democratic government rests on the confidence that citizens have that elections are fair and transparent and accessible, and that their votes are going to be fairly counted and heard and respected. And here, what we're seeing is just, you know, an attempt to nullify the will of the public, the will of the people, the will of the voters. And so I think everybody should be able to get behind you in your effort to reclaim this seat. And, you know, when we come back, I want to hear about the challenges, because you had a challenge before you could even run. Okay, that you had to overcome that challenge to be able to run. Then you ran, and then you won, and now you're facing another challenge.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And you won what, 65% of
it? Was a little bit more than 65 to 35. I think it was 65.2 to 34.8.
There you go.
So it was a significant margin.
I'd be afraid to run against this man. That's all I want to tell everybody. You got to be afraid to run against somebody who gets 65% of the vote.
All right, we got more coming up.
Pick another race. Pick another race.
Judge John Fuller is here. We got more coming up. Everybody hold tight. News is next.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A rally is planned in New York calling for a ban on horse-drawn carriages after a horse collapsed and died in Central Park. This woman witnessed the collapse.
The horse was still breathing until they let him pass away.
Police say the 16-year-old carriage horse went down with passengers on board and died minutes later. Animal rights groups have renewed calls to phase out the industry. At least 12 people are dead and 9 others injured after a mass shooting in Johannesburg, South Africa. Police say a group of gunmen opened fire in an informal settlement before fleeing, and a manhunt is now underway with no arrests yet. And 2 Los Angeles Dodgers players are drawing attention after opting out of part of the team's Pride Night celebration. Reports say Blake Trinan and Alex Call chose not to wear the team's rainbow-themed hats, instead wearing standard caps, while other players participated in the event. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, we're back. We are back. Cedric, what you got? Cedric? Did we miss him? All right, Cedric, call back. All right, we are opening up telephone lines here. 504-582-9422. I know we don't have a whole bunch of time, and I know you got to take care of the queen. So go ahead, Suzanne.
So, Judge, what I want to know is, you know, there are people who supported this bill who touted it on the guise of judicial efficiency, judicial economy, court efficiency, saying that other courts throughout the state don't have a different civil and criminal bench, and therefore they should be merged, and that we have more criminal judges than most parishes. But could you explain to all of our listeners what criminal courts continue to struggle with here in Orleans Parish, how this merger and reduction of the number of benches is going to adversely impact the public, and why this courtroom efficiency argument does not hold water?
So just today I was looking at the numbers, and right now I have the 3rd lowest docket at Tulane and Broad, and it's still 128, right? And I think Rhonda has like 100, and I think Simone Levine has like 111 or something like that. So when you do the math, that's roughly 400 cases, right? So you have to take those 400 cases and you have to divide them amongst the remaining judges, which means that essentially every judge will inherit an additional 50 cases. Judges are already scheduling their trials for September and October. So imagine January 1st, each judge receiving 50 more cases. Some of those guys may have been in jail for years, right? But come January 1st, judges are going to be scheduling trials for April and May. Why so far? Because you got to remember we have Mardi Gras in the middle of the winter. So people that come into those sections in January, their cases are going to be set way back after the cases that have already been set on January 1st. So there's definitely going to be a clog of cases. And when you talk about the Constitution, one of the rights that every criminal defendant has is a right to a speedy trial.
And if somebody declares that, is that would that end up being like a 701?
Yeah, 701 motion. So think about a defendant who files a 701 motion in, let's say, October, right? And let's say it's the beginning of October, so 120 days later would be somewhere in February. However, the section his case ends up in already has trials scheduled from February to May. And in the 701 motion article, it states that that person should be released if the state isn't ready for trial.
And that happened here.
Unless there's good cause.
Right.
So are the prosecutors going to be able to say we have good cause because all these cases have been reallotted? Because at the end of the day, the only rights that
what's the clarification of good cause?
Exactly. So it's a subjective term.
Okay.
One judge may say it's a good cause, another may say it's not.
Right.
Ultimately, I think the Supreme Court's going to decide. But those are going to be some of the issues that arise in January. And if once these defendants start taking appeals, then the appellate docket is going to rise because of this, and the Supreme Court docket is going to rise as well. So there's going to be a huge domino effect come January.
But the only thing we're going to get out of that in the media is that our judges are too slow, or they're going to get criticized.
That's going to be the spin that they're going to try to then, suggest. But, people need to remember a criminal case is not just a file. It's a victim seeking justice. It's a defendant whose constitutional rights are at issue. It's witnesses who need to be heard and reschedule their schedule to make it work. Attorneys have to prepare on both sides, and judges who have to make life-altering decisions under pressure. Now they're going to have more pressure to move an already clogged docket.
And like I told, I think it was Louisiana Weekly when I was interviewing with them, those judges at Tulane and Broad are some of the hardest working judges in the city. That building tries more criminal cases than any other building. In the state. That building tries more criminal cases per year than any other building in the state.
And you probably try more criminal cases in that building than anybody else I know.
Right. And so to say they're not working flies in the face of the evidence that shows more cases are tried there than anywhere else. More motion hearings are tried there than anywhere else. And that building, since I've been practicing in that building, that building has been hard working. And you criticize a judge because he or she takes off on a Friday or a Monday, but you leave out the fact that the majority of the parishes around this state do not have a criminal docket every day. Some of the parishes in this state have a criminal docket once a week, but once a month, but the legislature thinks they're somehow more efficient than Orleans Parish. There are literally parishes in this state that have a criminal docket once a week.
And you all every day.
Once a month.
Right. Well, but you all just about every day.
Every day.
And it's a very stressful job. I don't think people realize just how stressful that job is and the ramifications that it has on your personal life as well as your professional life.
You can take some calls?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Folks want to talk to you. All right. Cedric, you back with us?
Hello. How are you all doing? And, it's something, Attorney Fuller, I don't know. I mean, can I say congratulations?
Absolutely.
Godspeed to you and your family.
Thank you.
What I'm not understanding is, we have newly elected officials within the Louisiana State Black Caucus, Chairman Newell and Vice Chair Murray. I would hope that they reach out to get some guidance as to how they can better represent. And I'm not talking about their leadership. They're new. How they can use this platform, since both of them from districts in New Orleans, to better help New Orleans, this situation. How can they do a campaign to say, if New Orleans goes, then the 60-something other parishes will feel it? And I'll hang up and listen.
Okay, all right. You want to answer that one? Because I think that's more so a legislative question, too. But
I was thinking it was more so of a comment. I mean, hopefully the Black Caucus has learned a lesson from this last legislative session, and that's to be proactive and not reactive, and to reach out and get help before the train derails. So I hope that they all are listening, and I hope they have learned their lesson. I don't think it's appropriate for the judge to comment on the effectiveness of the Louisiana Black Caucus, particularly since he's about to run for re-election. So I'm going to take that bullet for him, Shed. But I think that we all learned a lot. And hopefully it's made us all a little stronger and a little wiser. And it's going to make us hold people accountable to do the jobs that we have elected them to do. But as to you, I want to know from you, what makes you different from anybody else in that building at Tulane and Broad, and positions you, John Fuller, to be the man that people should vote for in November, should your other legal action not be as fruitful as we would pray for?
It's interesting that you asked me that, because I was thinking about that today. And I was thinking about the fact that, I came from a poor to moderate background. My mom was a teacher, and until I turned 13, she was essentially a single mother. She married my stepdad when she was 13. She divorced my father when I was 2. And growing up like that humbles you, right? And I've experienced rejection at multiple intersections in my life. I told some people a couple of weeks ago, said, how many people you know never got hired by McDonald's, even after applying? And I said, I'm one of those people. I never forget I applied for a job at McDonald's, I think when I was 16. I forget which street it's on, but it was in the Southwest Atlanta. And, growing up like that keeps you humble, keeps you grounded. Never forget when I became a lawyer, I applied for jobs at the Orleans Parish DA's office and at the Caddo Parish DA's office. And none of those offices hired me, right? And as a young man, I experienced racial profiling in the state of Georgia, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Experiences that distinguished me from some of my colleagues. And then, as you alluded to earlier, when we were off the air, I think, or it may have been on the air, how I was challenged, my candidacy was challenged, and I literally had a trial. I became a defendant who actually had to testify at a trial on the merits. And that gave me a perspective of what it felt like to be a real life litigant in a proceeding. And those are experiences that most people just can't share with me. And what comes with that is the nerves, being nervous, not knowing what to expect, things of that nature, having to be cross-examined by the opposing lawyer.
Don't let them know. Because you look like you're just like the coolest dude, like whatever, let's go.
But I experienced that. But I think, number one, Suzette, is my concerted effort to bring humanity. I think people around the city know me. I'm always running to people in the grocery store, stuff like that. And I always make time to talk to whoever wants to talk to me, no matter how tired I am or how late it is. And one of the reasons I do that, in addition to, my mama taught me to have some manners, I'll never forget, and I've told this story a million times, but never publicly. So it's the first time this story will be told publicly in front of an audience. When I was in law school, I was at Loyola. And even though I grew up in Atlanta, I had never run into a famous person, had never seen a famous person in my life. And I was, I think, at the Smoothie King on Claiborne. And Morris Bart walks in. This is my first time seeing a famous person in my life. You know, to me, it's famous. Mm-hmm. And I was so excited, right? I'm like, man, that's Morris Bart. And he walked right past me if I didn't exist, as if I didn't exist. And I said to myself in that moment, if God ever places me in a position where people recognize me, I would never, ever make a human being feel like I felt in that moment. And that no matter how tired I was, how exhausted I was, whether my daughter, well, I ain't have one then, but if a child of mine was hungry, but someone wanted to talk to me, that I will always make time to talk to them no matter what kind of day I have had. And that's just kind of how I've lived my life. So that same humanity is what I bring to the bench. Since I've been up there, I've been nice to police officers, even if I ruled against them. I've been nice to the DA, whether I rule against them or rule for them. Been nice to the defense attorneys, the defendants, and I always acknowledge family members who are in the audience, whether they're family members of the victim or family members of the defendant. And I will always do that. So I think that is what distinguishes me from many other judges, to answer your question in a very long-winded fashion, Ms. Bagneris.
I wanted to give you that forum to do that, yes, because I know you are humble and you don't like to toot your horn.
I hate I don't like that at all.
I know you don't, but I can say this, I'll toot your horn.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is a rare thing, people who know me, to hear me say that somebody is the real deal trial lawyer, a real man and a real father, a man of great character, and someone who is worthy of the position that he has earned. I'm going to be voting for John Fuller. I don't care what division you pick, because I have watched your journey from the beginning to now, and I can't think of anyone who is more deserving of a seat on that bench than you. But people may not know, in addition to being a great lawyer, this young man has put together a luncheon, I think it's annually, where he mentors and invites other young black men and lawyers and people who are not lawyers, who aspire to be lawyers, to come sit around a table with him and fellowship. I also know, because I know one of the young men you mentor, that he is mentoring other young black men who aspire to be lawyers. He didn't tell me none of this, y'all. I just know it from the street committee.
Not from the street committee.
From the street committee.
Yeah, I didn't tell you any of that.
No, you didn't tell me any of that. I'm sitting here wondering how you know it. When I tell you I follow you, I follow you. And I want the public to know, too, that he doesn't just tow his daughter around to be seen. His daughter is in here with him in studio right now. This is a very active black male father. Yeah. And so I have tremendous respect for John Fuller.
Same.
And I hope that you do too. And I hope that no matter what division of court he aspires for, that we can all get behind him. And I say that as Suzette, not WBOK, but I say that as Suzette, because real recognize real. Yeah. So
what's the next?
Thank you.
What's the next for you? I mean, I know that you have to get ready for your next chapter as far as getting ready to run again. Is there anything in between that probably we may have missed that you need to get out? You need everybody to know.
Certainly one of the things that I and you probably recognize this too, Suzette and G-Man. One of the issues we have here is the number of people who can vote who don't know it. On election day, I had, former clients coming up to me saying, "Listen, man, I wish I could vote for you." I say, "You still on probation?" They say, "No." I say, "You still on parole?" They say, "No." I said, "Well, you can register to vote."
Right.
So we really need to push that piece. And I talked to some people about pushing a voter registration drive, and it's not a Republican thing, a Democrat thing, a vote for me or don't vote for me thing. I think people should be registered to vote. You've served your time, you've served your probation, and when we vote, we agreed as a state a few years ago that once a person is finished with that, then they should return to the ranks of eligible voters. So, so definitely we need to push that forward. And in terms of political office, obviously, I think y'all both know I'm a praying man. And I certainly will be praying on that, and definitely make whatever decision the Lord tells me to make in terms of my next move.
We'll be praying for you too.
Thank you.
And wait, because we want to know.
Yes, sir.
It looks like, I'm gonna just say, it looks like what you got here is a whole bunch of support from not only inside but outside, because I'm looking at some of the comments that's coming over the line.
Yeah.
And it's all about you supporting.
Let us know when you figure out the fundraiser and the retire the debt.
And don't be afraid
So
to
we
come back and
can
talk to us here.
put that out here.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Look, I know if I don't call you, you gonna.
I call you all.
Because you didn't ask me if I could come. You told me. You said come. You said come Thursday. Oh, you did give me options.
I gave you options, and I know you couldn't tell me a lie because we was in church.
Yeah.
And man, we all praying for you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, and if I could, to those of us who voted for me, first of all, thank you. And I don't know if it came across, but the one thing I wanted to be was a candidate that represented you, your pain, your struggles, your rejection, your rebounding, your hard days at work, your negative interactions with law enforcement. I wanted to be a candidate that represented real people and real life experiences. And to the extent that you all, you voters who voted for me, you recognize that, I certainly thank you and appreciate you. And to the extent that I did not successfully get that across to you, I will certainly work harder in the future. I only want to be a candidate that represented real New Orleans and what real New Orleans people have experienced.
I think they represented you. I think people really realized who you were, what you were bringing to the table. When I saw the numbers, I said, John just could have stayed home and saved his money and just put his name on it, because everybody stood up and you were the talk of the town.
Okay.
You were the talk of the town. And everybody that I knew said, John running.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah. And then we saw those numbers and said, good Lord. Yeah. I agree with you. Don't want to run against him.
Who wants to run against somebody with 65% of the vote?
Correct.
Who has been on a billboard in a prominent space for the last few years, because I've been trying to get it, Lord. I'm happy he coming down so I can get it, Lord. But also, I want to say this. This man is very successful at what he does. And be it known that moving to the bench from what he does is going to be a significant decrease in his annual salary.
So in other words, don't be calling John saying,
the point I want to make is this. That lets me know that he's doing it for the right reasons, to serve the public.
Yep.
Because he is doing very well. And he does not need to take that pay decrease. He wants to take that pay decrease to serve. And that kind of dedication and public service should be rewarded.
Yeah. I'm not going to hold you. I appreciate you for coming in.
No, I thank y'all for having me.
Come back. No, this is an open microphone.
Yes, sir.
And we more than likely are going to be calling you as this next chapter comes out, and whatever that move is. So
I'll be here.
Get off that billboard and give somebody else a chance for it, man.
You see personal things people worry about.
That's the thing Suzette's worried about. Get on that
But you
billboard
know,
and get
when
somebody else.
you're a high-profile
Yeah,
personal
boy.
injury lawyer, that billboard is, the perfect spot for you. But she don't need that because her name is being mentioned in rooms she don't even know exist.
Look, you too. I respect you.
I say you too. So
Whatever we can do to help
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
let us know.
Judge John Fuller, y'all. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. More coming up right here on WBOK.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Spelman College president Rosalind Brewer came from the business world. She's held posts in the C-suite at Starbucks and Sam's Club and was CEO at Walgreens, making her one of the most successful black women on Wall Street. And now she's trying to take some of that experience in business and use it to help Spelman.
One of the things I've committed to this board of trustees at Spelman College is that I will try to bring as much business to this institution as I possibly can. And that would be through a new financial or business model. We live off of very few sources of revenue. But if we looked at our institutions through the lens of what we could monetize, things like our online learning programs, that right now through the number of, high school students that need certifications, could we provide those?
Spelman was recently one of several schools that billionaire Arthur Blank donated to. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Lowe's has the brands pros trust to get the job done. You can now shop new Catalyst fencing solutions and save big when you do. 10% off when you buy in bulk. Plus, save $180 on a DeWalt 12-inch dual bevel sliding compound miter saw. Now just $449. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/6 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Let's talk about the explosive controversy erupting at CBS News. Specifically, the turmoil erupting at 60 Minutes, considered the golden standard of journalistic integrity. The iconic news magazine has been on the air for 57 years. The trouble started when media mogul David Ellison, an ally of President Donald Trump, gained control of CBS. Ellison brought in Barry Weiss, who has no broadcast news experience, as chief news editor. Weiss immediately troubled the network waters, creating friction among the staff, firing or failing to renew the contracts of several veteran correspondents. Weiss turned the boat completely over when she hired another non-broadcast news person to head the 60 Minutes news magazine. Now, that would be tantamount to putting me, a broadcast journalist with no experience in print, in charge of editorial content at the newspaper. Well, that silly move was the last straw for veteran newsman Scott Pelley. He blasted Weiss, accusing her of trying to kill the program. Pelley was immediately fired for his blunt observation, creating even more tension at the network. And Weiss was already taking heat for allegedly attempting to slant the news to appease the Trump administration. By now, you're probably wondering, why in the hell should this be of interest to you? As I see it, what's occurring at CBS News is a microcosm of what's taking place in media overall. Ask yourself this question: who controls your information? The media has consolidated into only a handful of voracious, profit-driven owners, primarily with a bottom-line interest. This is exactly what legendary CBS News President Fred Friendly warned us about way back in the late 60s. The narrowing of news ownership would potentially lead to corporate news prioritizing profit over public service. dangerously leading to the reduction of independent journalistic voices. So here we are today, where media in the United States are now controlled by just 6 major companies. These conglomerates own information distribution platforms that run the gamut from broadcast, print, to social media networks. Compare that to 1983, where media in the U.S. were controlled by 50 companies. It was Thomas Jefferson who considered a free press to be a vital pillar of democracy. At this point in our history, sadly, it appears that the press and democracy are both in jeopardy. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Trying to grow your business or increase traffic to your location? We can help. WBOK 1230 AM has a number of solutions that will meet your individual needs. Give one of our consultants a call today at 504-582-9420 or email us at info@wbok1230.com. And remember, an investment with WBOK is an investment in our community. Call today.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another open enrollment update. Who do I have on the line today?
Hi, you're speaking with Vanessa Scott of BSG of Louisiana.
Can you tell us a little bit about what is open enrollment?
The open enrollment period is for Medicare members that want to change from one plan to another.
Why is open enrollment so important?
Because a lot of people missed out on the annual enrollment period, so they need to have a one-on-one review.
And if you have questions or concerns about your Medicare plans, what should you do?
You just pick up the phone, call 504-621-3687. We even come out to your house. Zero cost to them.
Get with BSG of Louisiana for your Medicare review. For church groups, senior communities, or disability organizations, call 504-621-3687. We are an independent insurance agency providing information about Medicare-related insurance plans. We are not connected or endorsed by Medicare or the U.S. government.
Well, Saints of God, this is Pastor David Impartan Sr. coming to you over the airways of WBOK, your favorite host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want to invite you to our show every Saturday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. That's Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want you to invite your family and friends to a broadcast that's designed to change your life, the way you think, the way you act, and what you eat. We want you to tune in every Saturday at 1 o'clock, WBOK, 1230 a.m. See you on Saturday.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Our number 504-582-9422. Galloway.
What's going on, brother Gerod?
What's going on with you?
How you doing, counselor?
I'm hanging in here.
All right, then. That's what all it makes, man. First of all, y'all want to give a shout out to, I take very honor and pride to call that man Judge Fuller, man. Keep your head up, my brother. If you run again, I'm going to vote for you again. And then help you fundraise and all that other good stuff. Now, y'all was talking about that Carmelo Anthony trial. Did y'all see the father of the Metcalf twin that was killed, how he went on the internet and went on a racist rant?
No, I have not been paying attention to the other side. I just looked at it as far as news information, but I was very hurt the fact that they did not. And I think I was more concerned about why the family did what they did with the attorney than the other side.
I'm going to tell you, Mike Howard should have never been representing a black person anywhere. Mike Howard, 2 weeks before the trial, instead of him preparing for trial, Mike Howard was making social media posts about the first female black district attorney in somewhere around in Dallas County. Mm-hmm. He was never a friend of black people. But some of these black lawyers in Texas, I ain't afraid to say it. Y'all better watch who you talk to. Oh, Lee Merritt and that other clown that he hang with. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Mm-hmm. Your ambulance chasers. And I ain't afraid to say it. I called it to him and I told him to their face. It's a disservice because the father don't want to say who they is. But it don't take that much to find out who they was to recommend this lawyer to defend their son. But getting back to that father called Carmelo Anthony a watermelon felon. The reason why I say that is because the father kept saying it was never about race. It was never about race. This was always about race. And nothing is going to ever change until we, as black people, realize moving to the suburbs where you only have 10% of people that look like you, and when you have hundreds of thousands of other people that don't look like you, those folks going to take advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
That jury was not all the way all white. You had two Asian women on there, and then like a middle, maybe an Indian woman from India or somewhere around that area. But they fell right in line with the white supremacy structure. No doubt about that.
In my experience as a trial attorney, Asians and people of Indian descent typically vote with their white counterparts on the jury.
Exactly. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I know that. My whole point is that family, and you can look at it, mother, father, kids, none of them have ever been in trouble a day in their life. They needed help, and Lee Merritt and all them other civil rights attorneys up there was coming to them, and the man said it, what was it, yesterday in the interview, they kept telling me, get a white lawyer, get a white lawyer. Sad. I don't understand it. But, hey, I got a question for y'all. I want y'all to call y'all mayor and see if she can call the president of the New Orleans Sewage and Water Board and see if they can have a meeting. Because that dummy got on TV today and kept blaming the Sewage and Water Board for the problems that the infrastructure.
Right.
So who is the president of the Sewage and Water Board?
Well, what I did basically was
she is.
But I sent I sent our good friend a message saying, please come back. We need to discuss this. I have not heard back from him yet. But when you're blaming the Sewage and Water Board, aren't you talking about yourself?
Exactly. That woman made it seem like whoever's in charge of the Sewage and Water Board don't even live in New Orleans or don't work in New Orleans.
And then the other part about that, though, Galloway, hasn't it been in the news that the city council and the mayor have been working together so they can get more control of the Sewage and Water Board? And they have been saying, yes, cool. So what's the problem? You talking about yourself again?
Problem. You know what, Gerard? She is not only she is the problem, but she keeps saying she's been talking to these different engineers. She's trying to hire somebody, one of her little flunkies or one of her little buddies. That's what she really wants. The gentleman that you had on your show that is very knowledgeable, that know what he's doing,
and very qualified.
She don't want him. Very qualified, extremely qualified. She does not want him to work there anymore.
No.
So she's trying to put this blame on that French Quarter project on this man's shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, the man is doing what he can do with the money and equipment and the tools that he has.
Well, he's the only one that I've seen so far that has been in charge of the Sewage and Water Board that has taken it upon himself to go to Washington, D.C. and sit down and talk to lawmakers, sit down and talk to those folks to see how he can get some more money to help take, I guess, a burden off of these different elements that we seem to be doing as infrastructure.
I got to tell you, I'm tired of the gamesmanship. I'm tired of the blame game that people are playing in this city to avoid their own responsibility. It's getting tired. If you take over an agency or you take over the city as an elected official, the responsibility stops at your doorstep. Stop trying to blame your predecessor and everybody else, every Tom, Dick, Harry, and their puppy, for things that you were duly elected or appointed to handle. The blame game has to stop.
When you take the position, you take the responsibilities, you take the awards, and you also take the criticisms, and whatever is broken is your baby now. It's the same thing that I keep seeing coming up with this daggone OPSO stuff.
Well, also the blame game that Hano's trying to blame Cynthia Wiggins for them not paying the water bill at Gus.
Yep.
They're trying to blame Cynthia Wiggins for them not approving people to move into the vacant apartments. They're trying to blame Cynthia Wiggins for not fixing the infrastructure for the capital dollars that Hano controls that created vacancies. Stop shifting the blame on other people for things that are your own responsibility.
That was close. I was
Now,
wondering. I
now
heard
why
shifting.
hasn't
I said shifting.
She said shifting.
I was always saying shifting.
She said shifting. I was just,
Now,
it
why
just came
hasn't
out
the,
wrong. So I'm just saying.
why hasn't the media followed up on those lights? That remember they had that big press, whatever, showing about all those lights. From my understanding, it's a whole lot of lights still out in the east and on the bridges. Why is nobody followed up on that? I'm not talking about WBOK. I know y'all are. WDSU, WWL, WGNO, Fox 8. Can we get an update on those lights since y'all was all up in Helena's face talking about, oh, she's fixing the lights, all this and that? From my understanding, it ain't going the way it's supposed to be going. I wonder why nobody's talking about that. But I'm going to get on up off here, man. It's World Cup time. So when y'all ever get that president of the Sewage and Water Board, can y'all please give her the number to the mayor's office so they can have a talk and have a conversation?
It's coming.
Y'all have a good day.
She just had to look in the mirror. She's the president of the Sewage and Water Board.
Yeah. All right, Sarge.
It's General, sir.
It's
but
what?
Either way it go, good afternoon, Brother Gerod and Attorney Suzette. But I had a point I really wanted to make. First of all, I want to say good evening to the WBOK family, too. I lived uptown for 50 years and hung around Gus High Rise, me and my buddies, and we know what they are trying to do to move the seniors from the building to make, a hotel. This is the home of our community and seniors, you know what I mean? And who feel safe now, but the former director of NOAA, Mr. It's hard when it's Larry Babino or whatever his name is. I'm sorry for not pronouncing
Larry
it
Barabino?
right. Barabino, I'm sorry, yes. But he was hired, by the mayor, Moreno, as property manager, but this guy is not qualified and he hasn't been trained or in this particular position, And, why would we want someone to feel, who failed our children now, who wants to now, to fail our senior citizens? Come on, Cedric Richmond and Mayor Moreno. I'm sorry, Miss Helena Moreno, this is not right.
So you're saying that this is, are you a member of the Gus family right now? I'm just trying to find out. I know you said
yes, I am. Yes, okay. Yes, I am.
And you're not happy with it at all?
No, I'm not happy with the situation and what they're trying to do, and they're betraying us, with this guy, and he quit NORD, he didn't stay with NORD when I think he should have, but, whatever reason he may have had for that. But at the same time, he didn't complete a job, but you're going to hire him for a job in which he has no experience and, never participated or even go to training.
So do you think, that there's something else going on?
I'm sorry.
You
sorry for cutting you off.
You said something else, too, and that was a hotel. What are you talking about?
They want to build a hotel, and they want to turn the high rise into a hotel.
Who is they? Who wants to do that? Who wants to do that?
Well, the best thing, the powers that be, Cedric Richmond and the other one.
And is this circulating through the residents?
This is what I want to say. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but Cynthia has been over there at there for 25, 26 years, and she's been doing a great job. No problems. Everything has been improvement for the betterment of the people. She shows love. The people love her, and she does her job. You know what I mean? And why would you send somebody in there to? How are you going to teach her anything when you don't know anything about the position yourself? It doesn't make sense.
Well, thank you for calling. I have to say we've been getting some very interesting calls about what's really going on over there. And it's interesting that you say build a hotel there.
That was one of the calls.
Because we got a call today from someone who happened to be sitting somewhere and overheard a conversation by some high-ranking political officials and attorneys about taking over Gus to put a hotel there.
Exactly.
And it just confirmed it that you're saying it. You're hearing that too.
Exactly.
It confirms what that person told us, that that's really what's going on. That this is about privatizing and knocking Gus down to build a hotel.
And portraying our people and our citizen seniors that paid taxes all their lives, that just wants to live the rest of their life, just to enjoy it, live life, well, even if they hadn't accomplished all their goals, but let them live their life. And now I'm sorry, they're creating a very big problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate that info.
Thank you all, and y'all have a blessed day.
You too.
That confirms that earlier call.
All right, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. Final few minutes, and we'll get ready to call it a day for Thursday. Tomorrow, as you are hearing from the judges that seem to be affected with this House bill that the governor is signing, tomorrow, Judge Leon Roche is coming in the building to have some information for you and also talk about this issue too. So tomorrow, Judge Leon Roche will be in the studio. All right, more coming up, y'all.
AURN News.
This is Clay Kane. According to a press release from the Academy Awards, 90-year-old Floyd Norman will receive an honorary Oscar at the 2026 Governors Awards, making history as Disney's first black animator to be recognized with the honor. Norman began his groundbreaking career at Walt Disney Animation Studios in 1956, breaking barriers in an industry where black artists were rarely seen or acknowledged. His first Disney feature was Sleeping Beauty, and he went on to contribute to classics including The Sword and the Stone, Mary Poppins, Jungle Book, Robin Hood, Winnie and the Pooh and the Honey Tree, Toy Story 2, and more. After a 65-year career, Norman's legacy is not only animation excellence, but opening doors for generations of black artists in film. Follow me on social media at Clay Kane. This is Clay Kane for AURN News.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
WBOK is pleased to announce the reboot of Crosstown Conversations with host Gene Nathan. A heightened focus on cultural entertainment events and the creators who present them. The new time is now Saturday at noon. Tune into the stories of our exploding creative scene with Gene Nathan on Crosstown Conversations.
Did you hear the news? Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom has a new time. Catch us now every Wednesday at noon. Same program, same great conversations. Just a new time. So catch Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom this Wednesday and every Wednesday only on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
I'm Wendell Pierce. Thanks for making WBOK your station. WBOK.
Here we go. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. You ain't had that open, did you? Welcome back. Good conversation today. We heard a lot of conversation from injustices that's happening around the country, whether we're talking about the murder of a young man and saying that he did it, and he did it, what would you say? What would they call that? They prosecuted
in self-defense.
But did they say it was self-defense?
That's what the defense was supposed to be arguing, that it was a self-defense, sudden passion defense is what they were supposed to be trying to explain to the jury.
But
he was not the aggressor. He was not the original aggressor.
But he was there for a track meet, right? And then those two boys came from under their tent to have some type of aggression toward him because they didn't want him under their tent.
Right. Right. That's what they're saying. They're saying that he was not the aggressor, that two other people were the aggressors, and that he was acting in self-defense. That was the defense that his team was trying to put forth.
I saw the young lady, I think she was one of his family members, and she said, this is nothing but race. We should be looking at this as a sign of the times, because if this was a white guy doing it, it would be something else. But this is race. Did you think
There's a lot of racial overtones in this particular case because, one, you got a black man being tried in a predominantly white county in front of an all white, or has a few Asians, understand not today, jury. Is that a jury of his peers? You have a black family that hires a white attorney because they think they needed a white attorney in a white town. They think that was going to make a difference for them. The fact that he was white and the jury was white. How about we find somebody who's competent? It seems to have a lot of racial overtones. And then the dad continuing to say, Jeff Metcalf continuing to say throughout the trial, that from day one, I said this was never about race. Please don't politicize it. This is about right and wrong. We are all human. We all bleed the same color. And then apparently, allegedly, saying things that were racial after making that kind of statement. I mean, there's a lot of racial tension going on in this country, and it is spilling over in many different ways.
You think that all started back because of Trump?
I think America has always been racist, but I think that at times it wasn't politically correct to put your racism on the front porch in certain places. But now racism is dressed up on the front porch wearing Christmas lights 24/7.
Turning around on the
absolutely
360 like a merry-go-round.
It is no longer out of fashion to be a racist.
I want you, if you get a chance, I don't know if it'll be this weekend or whatever, but go on Netflix and watch the what's his name, Kaepernick, the football player. Look at his documentary as he's talking about how he was when he lived in a community that was predominantly white, and he had to understand and figure out who he was and the issues that he had to go through with being a black man living with a white family in a majority white community, and the things he had to go through, including when he got his learner's permit and he was going to a camp. This is a football camp that he and his adopted family would go to, different camps, and they go up and down the road every week. He was headed somewhere. And his father was driving. But then one day, because there was a cop on that road every day that was, checking speed. And one day he decided to let his son drive. And the cop pulled him over. And he just said, "What'd I do wrong?" And he said, "I'm gonna ask the questions here," and looked in the vehicle and said, "Is there y'all okay?" Because they're white. And he was driving. She said, "Yes, we just let our son drive today. He's usually in the car and sees you on the side of the road. We just let him drive today because he's getting he got his learner's permit." And he said, "Can I see that?" And Colin reached for it. He almost pulled his gun out on him to shoot him. Scared the crap out of him. So I think what we're seeing is the combination of a lot of different issues.
I was about to say that. I think we have two issues converging at one time, creating a very dangerous situation for Black Americans.
Mhm.
And this might be a painful
That's a good way
truth for me
put
to
it.
say it.
Dangerous.
Yeah, and this might be a painful truth for me to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. On one hand, we have racism in its undertones that we are no stranger to. And but the new thing, and it's not new, but I guess it's just becoming to the forefront is the amount of Black people who will sell us out in the name of making a dollar for themselves. And I think the racism and the people selling out is converging to put us in a very dangerous situation. And I think we have gotten a lesson in that in real time in this last legislative session. I think we're getting a lesson in that at NOPD because Kirkpatrick's not doing it on her own. She's got some people helping her do it.
Yeah.
We're getting a lesson in that with what's happening with Miss Cynthia over there at Gus. We are in a bad situation between the racists and the spooks at the door.
Let me say
I'm
this.
just saying it. I'm just putting it out there. We are having a problem. Okay? And part of it is coming from within.
Yeah.
There's an attack coming outside on us, and there's an attack from within. And I don't know which one right now is more dangerous, but the pairing of the two is wiping us out.
Let me throw this in before we had to get off, and that is we have been working at the law firm for the last, 5 months at least, putting together all of our folks that have some type of issue with the Harvey State building because that building had asbestos, and folks are getting sick. We don't know yet on all the implications that are going to come out in this in this situation in court. But this law firm is working on it, and we need you, if you work there, because they have DCFS, DPS,
ORM,
parole,
the whole alphabet soup is working there.
Every state office that you could possibly think of was in that building. If you worked in that building and you have some issues, make sure you call us, 504-810-3995. 504-810-3995. There's some issues that are coming up that we need to talk to you about, and we hope that you are well. That's number one. But number two, if there is a chance that something is wrong with you and you think it's something that happened in that building, we need to talk to you. All right? 810-3995. Area code 504-810-3995. If we don't pick up, don't hang up. Leave a message.
Other thing, if you're one of those people on that unpaid judgment list for the city of New Orleans and you have not gotten paid, please call my office. I'm working on something.
Yep. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us. We're going to call it a Thursday. We'll be here tomorrow. Make sure you're with us tomorrow. Judge Leon Roche will be our guest tomorrow. So we'll talk to him about all these issues with these judges. Y'all have a great rest of the day. Be safe. We shall see you tomorrow. Go Knicks.